This is A.D. Roberts. Welcome to Better Is Now, the podcast. I believe we live in a world filled with limitless possibilities, and in this world we are all looking to feel, do, and to be better. From that limitlessness, gentle nudges arise to remind us of our own possibilities. Today's nudge is about to begin right now.
Hey my friends, this is AD and I'm bringing you this week's episode of Better Is Now. Our topic today is a simple one, but it is really profound in that your life goes where your focus leads it. Your life goes where your focus leads it. And I have found this to be true for myself and many of the people that I have coached over the years. When you find yourself at a place, if you're struggling with where your life is, one of the things that I always bring to my students' attentions is, where's your focus? That's the big question. Where's your focus? And when you understand what focus is where your thoughts are, what you think about most, what is always in the forefront of your mind, what are the images that you see. So when you look at your life will leave clues. Your life will leave clues as to where your focus has been. Because, the thing about focus and the thing about thought creates reality. Thought does create reality. Thoughts are things. Thought is real. Thought quantifiably is tangible in that it is a vibration. It can be measured. Thought waves, brain waves can be measured. And those thoughts have a frequency to it. And because that thought has a frequency to it, it vibrates. And because it vibrates, that vibration can be felt. And we'll go into that a little bit later in today's talk. But I want you to understand that as you look at your life will leave certain clues as to where your focus is. If you are unhappy in this moment, there's a strong possibility that you may be wrestling with fear of the future. You may be wrestling with pains of the past. You may be wrestling with playing the mental movies over and over in your mind of what could possibly happen, what may happen, what could happen. And those fears or those pains are dragging your focus to that place. And because your focus is on what you don't have or what you want, unfortunately, if you look at your life may be reflecting that same focus. And usually that is exactly what the case is. Your life will leave clues. So if you're worried about money, if you're worried about, how you're going to pay the bills, well, where has your focus been? Has your focus been spent on solving the problem, or has it been in fear of the problem? Have you been struggling with, that self-talk where you're constantly beating yourself up about a decision that you made last week or last month or last year? Or are you in a place where you are struggling with what could possibly happen in the future because of decisions that you made? Or, is it out of your hands? Wherever your focus is, your life will soon follow in short order. So if our lives are at a place where we really don't want to be, then one of the remedies is to shift that focus. And so I want you to really understand that if you seem to never have enough money, or if you seem to be struggling with the same things over and over again, there's a strong possibility that is where your focus has been. Because fear is a major debilitating factor in our lives when it comes to whether we're going to be successful, whether we're going to be fulfilled. Because fear One of my mentors would always define fear as false evidence appearing real. And when fear steps in, fear will be so debilitating sometimes. And I can speak for experience, because even in my own life, I have wrestled with fear, and the fear has been so debilitating to where I wouldn't take action, or I wouldn't move immediately. Is that I would languish in that place, and I would wallow in that fear. And then I would start to begin to see the evidence of the things that I was fearful of. But that was only because that's where my focus was. And it wasn't until I learned to shift my focus. It wasn't until I learned to shift my thoughts. It wasn't until I learned how to shift my words. Stop playing the mental movies over and over again. It wasn't until I was able to stop that fear, stop that inner dialogue, and focus on the present moment. It wasn't until that instance where I was able to receive some power back, where I was able to grapple my life back into a place that could be managed. So even as I coach students, those are some of the very same things that they wrestle with, are those mental movies. I think, if you're listening to this, if you're watching this, there's a strong possibility that right now in this very moment, you may be wrestling with something that you're really afraid is going to happen. But one of the things that I've learned over the years is that of all of the mental movies that I've played, of all of the things that I've been so afraid of, most of those things never occurred. And, that brings me to a thought. Wayne Dyer was doing a talk one day, and, you'll hear me quote Wayne Dyer quite often. He said that most of our lives, and he himself was quoting someone, I can't remember who he was quoting, but he said, most of our lives are filled with such great sorrow, most of which never occurred. I'm going to say that again. Most of our lives are filled with such great sorrow, most of which never, ever occurred. And that is where we kill ourselves every day. That is where we murder our dreams, and that's where we put our best life on hold, because we are grappling with depression that is systemic of fear, living in a fear-based reality, and playing those mental movies over and over again as to what could possibly happen bad. But let me ask you this. If that is our reality because of our focus being placed on the thing that we don't want to experience, if that is our life, if that's the reality that we're experiencing, what would happen? What would happen if you shift your focus from what you don't want, what you do fear, to what you really want to experience? I mean, really think about that. Because if our lives go where our focus leads, then we have to take responsibility for where that focus is ending up. Because it's you that has the power. It will always be you. I know that in this moment right now, you may be feeling sad, you may be feeling down, you may be feeling defeated. I understand. I really do. But at that same token, if you have the power to create your reality based on your focus on negative things, you have the power to shift your life around based on positive. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. When you change your focus, so, what do we do now? In this moment, right now, the task is to shift your focus. And I want you to use one simple word. When you start to feel yourself drifting into that fear place, when you start to hear yourself having that inner dialogue that is negative, that will lead you to a place that is not serving you, that is not giving you the results that you want, where you no longer are feeling good, I want you to use one word. Just say to yourself, stop. Stop. Just stop. Stop. And stop is a powerful word. And say to yourself, no longer, we're not going to have this dialogue. What we are going to do is we're going to speak positively. We are going to speak affirmatively. We're going to change this energy around. So if this is something that you're wrestling with now, here's something that you can do. You want to change the channel on your life. See, remember how I was talking earlier a few minutes ago that how our focus is thought, and how thoughts are things, and how these thoughts are vibrations. So just imagine that your life is like a television channel, and based upon the frequency of that channel, just like on the radio, you want to listen to 101.5 or you want to listen to 92.6. In order to listen to the radio, you have to what? You have to dial into that frequency. Because if you couldn't hone in on one frequency, you would get all of them. Because, as you know, on the radio station, depending on where you are, it may be 10 or 11 or 12 or 13 or 20, 20 channels that you can tune in on the radio. And that's all based on frequency. If you couldn't hone in on that frequency, you couldn't get anything. You may just get what? Static and noise. So if life is about focus, it's just like us tuning into a particular station. What station are you tuned into? Are you tuned into a negative station? Or are you tuned into a positive station? So what we're going to do by virtue of our focus, we're going to tune in. We're going to change the frequency of our thoughts, thus tuning our focus into a different reality, thus creating a new reality for ourselves, thus creating a new life for ourselves. How does that work? Here's a trick. Here's a trick that I've used for a very, very long time. And as far as culturally, we as a people, we love music. That's one of the biggest industries in the world is the music industry. And that it's more than just entertainment. You gotta be very careful about what you listen to sometimes too, because that music has a frequency. And so one of the things that I use from time to time, part of my secret sauce, is that I will use music to shift my vibrational frequency. Because sometimes, especially if you're having a moment and you're down and you're sad and you're frustrated and you're doubtful about, where life is leading and where you're going, you need to immediately change that vibrational frequency. And sometimes on your own, on my own, it is difficult to just all of a sudden just artificially be happy. No, life just really doesn't work that way. We need a little help from time to time. And one of the things that I have done over the years is I have used music as a on-ramp to a higher vibration. So I may listen to one of my favorite artists. It might be, like Earth, Wind and Fire. They have been phenomenal for me. Earth, Wind and Fire is good. Erykah Badu is good. India Arie has been great. Just something, whatever that music is that makes you move, that makes your foot tap, that makes you begin to feel better, whatever that is, use that as an on-ramp to a higher frequency, because higher frequencies feel better. Lower frequencies don't feel so good. When you're sad and depressed, those are lower vibrational frequencies. They're on the lower end of the spectrum of energy. If you feel good, to feel good, you have to vibrate higher at that higher frequency. So I use music in order to do that. So, but now while I'm doing that, I will take a moment, have my music playing, and I might jot a few things down. I may jot some things down that say, I am, and that's the formula. I am. When it's something magical about you speaking and using the word I am, whatever follows I am, you're putting that energy out into the universe, and you're programming that which is around you and what is inside of you. When you say, I am happy, I am healthy, I am wealthy, I am rich, I am, in the greatest place of my life. And you do this while you're feeling good. And see, this is the key. When you're playing that music and you start to feel better and you start to feel good, in that place, I want you start to, oh man, it starts to get good. You start to flip in and out of what we call the gap between thoughts. Your mind turns off, and something bigger than you're able to tune into. And so it's just like dancing. Sometimes when you dance and it gets good, you get lost in it. When you play music, if you ever watch a movie, the movie Soul, oh my God, that's one of my favorite movies. It really is. And Soul, it talked about this, this gap place where the main character, he played the piano and he fall into this place where he was in spirit, and so he was connected to something that was bigger and broader than him. And in that place, you're able to create your reality. In that place, between that gap between thoughts, is where you're able to tap into something that is bigger than you. And so if you can bring into that moment, that present moment experience, the I am happy. Say it with me now. Say it right now. I am happy. I am healthy. I am powerful. I am wonderful. Don't say the things that you're not, because that doesn't matter, because we're not going to give energy or beingness to something that you don't want. We're not, because it's easy for the human mind to go to a place where you don't want. Perfect example. How many times has somebody said, hey, what do you want to eat today? What do you want to have for lunch? What do you want to have for dinner? What do? We all are guilty. Like, oh, I don't want any chicken. I had that yesterday. I don't want Italian. We had that last night. I don't. Everything in the world that you don't want. Everything in the world that you don't. But it's hard for you to focus in on the thing that you do. So we're going to be really intentional in this moment. While we're feeling good, while we're playing our music and we're starting to feel a little bit better, and we start to slip into that place. As we slip into that place, we're going to take intentionality with us. We're going to take intention with us. And the intention is the I am, the I am equation. I am happy. So again, say it with me now. We're starting to feel good. I am happy in this moment. I am full of life. I am excited about the possibilities. I am grateful. All of these things that you are, all of these things that you want to experience. And see, what this does is it shifts your focus. And if you can shift your focus, you can change your life, change the things you look at. When you change the things you look at, the things you look at change. You want to change your life. You want to shift your life, shift your focus, shift your energy, tune into a different channel. Tune into a different channel. And as we tune into that channel, raising that frequency from not feeling so good, being sad, to feeling a whole lot better, being happy, being motivated, being present, we slip into that place and we begin to plant the seeds of I am. I am happy. I am healthy. I am happy. I am healthy. I am wealthy. I am prosperous. I attract things into my space that I want. I attract prosperity. I attract good health. I attract good people. I live in a universe that loves me, that works with me, that conspires with me. And then when all of a sudden, if you can just pay attention to how you feel right now in this moment, I know it may sound weird, but try it. You'll begin to feel the hairs on your arm stand up. You'll feel goosebumps begin to tingle all over your body. What is that? That is your vibrational frequency shifting. And you change the atmosphere of your space. And as you change the atmosphere of your space, you change the frequency of your thoughts, you shift the focus of those thoughts, your words begin to change because of that shifted focus. Your life begins to change. Your thoughts begin to change. Your life begins to change. Your words begin to change. Your life begins to change. And that's where we are. Because that's what our topic for today is. If you are unhappy with where your life has been or is right now, I would admonish you. I would implore you, beg you, take a moment and examine where your thoughts have been. Because thoughts are things. Thoughts are real. Thoughts are vibrations. Thoughts will tune you into a channel that you truly don't want to watch. It's just that simple. So what are we going to do? Our exercise is simple. Write down affirming statements. Affirming that you are the best, that you are prosperous, that you are happy, that you are, right there at the threshold of experiencing everything that you want. Because I want you to hold the possibilities of your life in a higher place and a better place. Because why? Because you deserve it and you should have it. That should be your reality without question, without fail. So if you're feeling low, let's shoot for feeling high. How do we do that? We shift our vibrational frequency and focus on the things that we do want, not what we don't. Energy is key to doing all of this. Energy is key. Be mindful of the energy that you have around you. Be mindful of the images that you have around you. Buy yourself some flowers, have something alive, and, buy some candles, buy some things, have some things in your space that make you feel good. And I'm not talking about some dependency kind of stuff. I'm not talking about, that low vibrational thing like alcohol and all of that. What I'm talking about are things that will lead you higher on the spectrum of feeling good. The higher the frequency, the better you'll feel. So that has been our talk for today. Remember, your life will go where your focus leads it. And so what I want you to do is to focus on the things that you do want. Not on the things that you don't, but on the life that you want and you so deserve. Listen, this has been A.D. Roberts with Better Is Now. I will see you next time.
This is A.D. Roberts, and you have been listening to Better Is Now, the podcast. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for awesome programs and inspiring publications. Also, if you haven't yet, please subscribe to this podcast on your favorite platform like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or our very own Anchor. See you next time.